This story happened 5 years ago at Adamson University in the Philippines. It was around 8 p.m., exactly after class. Student A told Student B that she would go to the restroom before going home. However, a few minutes later, Student B felt that she also needed to go to the restroom, so she followed Student A. As Student B entered the restroom, she saw Student A entering the cubicle, so she washed her face and waited for Student A to come out. However, it was already 10 minutes, and yet Student A was still inside the cubicle, so Student B shouted, asking if Student A if she was still not ready. However, the person inside the cubicle didn't respond. Few seconds after that, a messenger call popped up on Student B's phone. It was Student A asking Student B where she was now, because she already returned to the classroom 10 minutes ago. Fear arose in Student B as she walked slowly and opened the cubicle. However, upon opening the door, not a single person was inside. This story happened in UST España. It was night when a group of students were going home after a happy time. One of their friend who has the farthest home called for a taxi. As the taxi arrived, she talked to the driver and went back to her friends. Due to curiosity, they asked her why she didn't enter the taxi even though there was no passenger inside, and the driver was even willing to give her a ride. She responded, "There was a headless person at the back." This story happened 4 years ago in UP Diliman in the Philippines. It was around 3 p.m. when a student went to the comfort room alone. Everything seems normal even after he enters the cubicle. As time passed by, he saw a reflection of a person from the next cubicle, and as he stared at the tiles where the reflection came from, he noticed that the face of the person from the next cubicle was slowly going down as if it were going to peek from the floor. Due to fear, he immediately washed himself and ran outside his cubicle. What shocked him was that the next cubicle was open as if there was no one in there. This story happened 9 years ago in UST in the Philippines. Due to continuous rain, the class was canceled. However, there were some students that were stranded inside the school. All students were gathered on the 3rd floor for announcements and for food delivery. However, a group of friends went to the restroom on the 5th floor around Commerce AVR. Everything went well when suddenly one of their friends became silent and didn't want to speak as much as possible. Upon returning to the gathering area, they asked her again what happened to her. Then she responded that she saw a student wearing a white uniform in the classroom in the 5th floor. But her friends were confused because their uniforms were black and yellow. Then they realized that years ago, Commerce students' uniform used to be white. This story happened around 10 years ago at FEU main campus in the Philippines. It was around 10 p.m. when an engineering student helped his professor carry their materials to the faculty office. As he went back, everything seemed normal, not until he came down the stairs. A creepy ambiance arose in him as he walked through the stairs downward. A few minutes later, his instinct kept on telling him to look up. It was on the 3rd floor when he slowly checked the upper part of the building, and there she saw a student wearing a white uniform. What confused him was that there should be no white uniform in the engineering building. As he slowly went down to the 1st floor, he saw the white lady looking at him exactly at the entrance of the chapel on the 1st floor. Due to fear, he immediately ran to the recto side exit, and the guard asked him, "What happened? Did you see the lady in the chapel?" This story happened years ago at Paco Catholic School in the Philippines. It was around 2 p.m. when a group of grade 5 students went to the comfort room. Everything seems normal, not until one of the students suddenly shouts. Other classmates were startled and asked what happened. Then the student replied that she saw the water in the bowl turn red. At first, no one believed her, not until her close friends actually peeked and saw the blood-like water flowing inside the bowl. Everyone gets nervous as they started to use rosary. Later, they found out that there was a girl named Sonia who was raped and killed by a janitor in the same comfort room. This story happened a few weeks ago at UST in the Philippines. It was around 2 p.m. when a female student went alone to the comfort room. Then suddenly she heard a voice saying, "Ole, ole, ole," which means look up. Creepy feeling arose from her, and slowly the student looked up. However, there's nothing in there and everything seems normal. Then suddenly she heard again, "Ole, ole, ole," continuously. Due to fear, she immediately washed herself and opened the door of the cubicle. Upon opening the door, there's a woman wearing old uniform, facing the mirror with no movement at all. Then suddenly, its head slowly rotates going to the left. The adrenaline and fear immediately rose in the female student, and she started running outside the comfort room while hearing, "Ole, ole, ole." This story happened 6 years ago at Science and Technology Research Center at De La Salle University in the Philippines. It was around 9:30 p.m. when 3 students were still in their room on the 3rd floor doing their project. A few minutes later, they heard someone knocking on the door, so they immediately checked if it was the guard. However, no one was there. Due to fear, they all decided to go home. While waiting for the elevator to go up, they noticed that the elevator suddenly stopped on the 2nd floor, as if someone was still in the school using the elevator. The elevator arrived at the 3rd floor, but no one was inside. Upon entering, the elevator alarm, which indicated that they were overloaded. Fear rises towards the 3 students, since there are only 3 of them, and it's impossible to become overloaded unless there's something inside that they cannot see. A few minutes later, the elevator went down and stopped again at the 2nd floor. However, no one was there. Upon arrival on the ground floor, they immediately ran and saw that the guard was at the guard's lobby, which indicates that there was no one actually using the elevator.